When I bought my dream house in Clearwater Springs, I thought I'd finally escape the chaos of city life. My property sat on a quiet cul-de-sac, bordered by tall oaks and a gentle slope that led to a small fenced area. I planned to turn into a garden. Life was peaceful until the HOA decided otherwise. One sunny morning, I woke up to the rumble of machinery outside. Through my window, I saw a group of workers marking the ground behind my fence. I threw on a shirt and stormed out, shouting over the noise. "Hey, what are you doing on my property?" A man in a neon vest looked up and said casually, "Building the new community pool, sir." HOA's orders. My jaw dropped. "The what?" He pointed to a set of blueprints. "It's part of the neighborhood improvement plan. Pool, lounge area, fence, everything. HOA approved." I was fuming. "This land is mine. Check your permits." He shrugged. "Talk to the HOA president. We're just following instructions." I called the HOA office immediately. The president, a smug woman named Cheryl, answered in her usual passive-aggressive tone. "Oh, come on, Mark," she said. "That back area isn't being used. We thought it'd make a perfect spot for the new community pool. You'll benefit from it, too." "Benefit? You mean trespass and destroy my property without permission?" I snapped. She sighed. "You're overreacting. It's for the neighborhood." That night, I reviewed my property deed and boundaries. Every inch of that land behind my fence was legally mine. No easement, no shared access, nothing. Yet the next day, construction continued as if my ownership meant nothing. Over the next few weeks, I watched in disbelief as they poured concrete, installed tiles, and even built a sign that said, "Clearwater HOA Community Pool." Every time I complained, Cheryl brushed me off. "You'll thank us when it's done," she'd say. By the time it was finished, the pool sparkled like a magazine cover. Residents started coming over, laughing, splashing, and setting up lawn chairs on my property. My driveway was blocked, trash littered my lawn, and every attempt to get the police involved ended with, "This sounds like a civil matter?" That's when I decided enough was enough. If they wanted to build a pool on my property without my consent, I was going to show them who really owned it on camera. A week after the pool opened, things had gotten out of hand. Every afternoon, the HOA members and their families crowded my backyard like it was a public resort. Kids screamed, adults blasted music, and someone even set up a barbecue grill near my fence. I couldn't believe it. These people were celebrating on my land as if they owned it. I tried talking to Cheryl one last time. She was sitting on a pool chair, wearing oversized sunglasses and sipping from a lemonade glass. "Cheryl, we've been over this," I said, my voice shaking with anger. "This pool is on my property." "You had no right to build it here?" She gave a little smirk. "Mark, stop making a scene. The pool benefits everyone. The board voted. It's staying." "The board can't vote to steal private property," I snapped. She waved a dismissive hand. "The community loves it. You should be proud, really. Look at how happy everyone is." That's when I noticed something that pushed me over the edge. Someone had installed a private HOA access only sign on my fence gate. They were literally locking me out of my own land. That night, I sat in my living room scrolling through my security camera footage. Every video showed people using my property without permission. Cars parked on my grass. Strangers walking through my garden. I felt violated. Then an idea sparked in my mind. Cheryl wanted to ignore legal property boundaries? Fine, I'd make sure she couldn't ignore the internet. The next morning, I went to a hardware store and bought a couple of hoses, a water pump, and a tripod for my camera. When I came back, I could still hear laughter from the pool. Perfect. I set up the tripod, hit record, and spoke directly into the camera. "Hey everyone, Mark here. You see this pool behind me? The HOA built it on my land without permission. So today we're taking it back." I attached the hoses, connected the pump, and started draining the pool right before their eyes. The water began swirling down the drain, forming a loud whirlpool. Within minutes, people were screaming and running out. Cheryl rushed toward me, her sandals slapping the wet pavement. "What do you think you're doing?" she yelled. "Draining my pool," I said calmly, holding up the property deed for the camera. "And I've got all the proof I need." Her face turned red. "You're going to regret this, Mark." I smiled. "No, Cheryl. You will." The video blew up faster than I ever imagined. I uploaded it that evening with the title, "HOA built a pool on my property, so I drained it." By the next morning, it had over 300,000 views. Comments poured in, calling Cheryl and the HOA everything from community dictators to entitled lunatics. When I stepped outside the next day, the once busy community pool was silent. The water was gone, the tiles were cracking under the sun, and a few leftover pool toys floated in shallow puddles. It looked pathetic and poetic. Then Cheryl showed up, flanked by 2 HOA board members. She wasn't wearing sunglasses this time. Her face was flushed, eyes darting nervously. "This is harassment, Mark," she said through gritted teeth. "You posted that video without permission. Take it down or face legal action." I crossed my arms. "Go ahead, Cheryl. Sue me for draining my own property." Her expression faltered, but she tried to recover. "The HOA has rights over shared community spaces." "Which this isn't," I said, handing her a printed copy of my property deed. "See this? Lot 27B. It's all mine, including where you built that pool. I warned you, Cheryl, multiple times." The board members exchanged uneasy glances. One of them, an older man named Greg, muttered, "Wait, she said this area was HOA owned." "Yeah," I said, locking eyes with him. She lied. Cheryl snapped, "Enough! We'll let our lawyers handle it." Then she stormed off, but the other 2 didn't follow. Instead, Greg looked back at me and said quietly, "You might want to keep those videos safe." This could get ugly, and ugly it got. Over the next few days, the HOA bombarded me with threatening letters. They demanded I pay for damages to the pool, claiming I'd vandalized community property. But every time I got a notice, I posted another update video, each one more viral than the last. People online began digging into Cheryl's record. Turns out she'd authorized several questionable projects before, using HOA funds without proper approval. The comment section became a digital courtroom and Cheryl was losing badly. Local news outlets picked up the story, calling it the Clearwater Pool Scandal. Reporters even came to my driveway for interviews. Meanwhile, I hired a real lawyer, someone who loved the idea of holding the HOA accountable. He reviewed everything and grinned. They don't have a leg to stand on. You could actually file against them for trespassing and property damage. That's when I knew I wasn't done yet. Draining the pool was only the beginning. By the time my lawyer, David, filed the lawsuit, the HOA was already crumbling under public pressure. Cheryl had gone from smug and untouchable to completely silent. Rumors spread that several board members had resigned and the HOA Facebook group, once full of party photos, was now a battlefield of angry comments. We gathered everything, the deed, the construction footage, Cheryl's texts dismissing my complaints, and the viral videos. When David submitted the evidence packet, even the court clerk raised her eyebrows. "They built a whole pool without permission?" she asked. "Yep," I said, trying not to grin. "And then told me to be grateful." The first hearing was surreal. Cheryl showed up in a navy blue blazer, pretending to be calm. When the judge asked why the HOA believed they could construct on private land, she claimed it was a misunderstanding. David stood up, holding the printed emails. "A misunderstanding? My client notified you 4 times in writing that this was his property. You ignored him, used HOA funds, and even posted a sign restricting his access. That's not a misunderstanding, that's willful trespassing." The judge frowned. "Ms. Richards, this is serious. Did you acquire written consent from Mr. Davis at any point?" Cheryl hesitated. "No, but the community..." "The community?" the judge interrupted. "Does not override private ownership. It was over before it began. The HOA was ordered to pay for the full demolition of the pool, restoration of my property, and all my legal fees. Cheryl was personally fined for misuse of HOA funds and later forced to step down as president. The day they started tearing the pool apart, I set my camera up again. Same tripod, same angle. But this time, I wasn't angry. I was satisfied. As the concrete shattered and the tiles were hauled away, I spoke into the lens one last time. "Remember, folks, if someone tries to take what's yours, don't just let them. Stand your ground, stay calm, and let the truth speak louder than their arrogance." The final video went viral too. News channels shared it, calling it the ultimate HOA downfall. Even months later, people recognized me at the grocery store and said, "You're the guy who drained the pool, right?" The backyard is quiet again now. No music, no strangers, no HOA banners. Just me, my fence, and the small garden I'd planned from the beginning. Sometimes I still hear phantom splashes when the wind hits right, but it just makes me smile. After all, that pool was never really theirs to begin with.